Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today is the start of the Winterween vlog. I say it's the start of the vlog because I'm not going to be able to film tomorrow morning when the readathon actually starts. So I thought I'd do a quick intro right here because the first book I'm reading is an audiobook. My phone's over there. The first book I'm reading for this readathon will be an audiobook. But before I get to that, because Winterween is a readathon that is held every winter by Gabby Reads here on YouTube. Really what it is it's the same thing as her Summerween readathon, except it's in the winter. Basically, it's just a week where you pick up some spooky reads, kind of get the Halloween-y vibe, the Halloween scary horror vibe, and then you read them for a week. There are normally 5 prompts. This year are read a horror thriller novel, obviously. Read a horror book 5 years or older. Read a book in the dark is a very common one. Read a novella, manga, or listen to a spooky audiobook. And the last one is read a book with house in the title or a house on the cover, because the theme for Winterween this year is haunted houses. So that is what that is. All of that information, including the prompts, the Instagram prompts, the bingo boards, all of that is available on the This Is Summerween Instagram, which basically just gives Winterween, Summerween updates along with Gabby. So that's what this is. This is going to be very similar to my Summerween vlog, which is basically just it's going to be one long video. So if it ends up being an hour, sorry. Hopefully I'm better than I was 6 months ago. So now that that is out of the way, I can get back to my actual TBR. The first book is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I'm starting this book tomorrow while I'm at work, because I like to listen to audiobooks while I'm at work. And if I sound a little congested, I have literally been sick all week, so sorry about that. That's what this is. It's just sinusitis, and I really think it's just the Minnesota weather just plummeted in my nasal passages. We're not happy about it. So I'm still recovering from that. I am getting better, so hopefully this weekend with Summerween, hopefully this weekend with Winterween, I can have some time to rest and read. But other than that, I am starting Into the Drowning Deep. I'm excited for this one. I'm not sure how I feel about mermaids. I mean, they're not my favorite mythical creature, but I'm also really interested in the horror vibe, the sirens, and the idea that they're basically sending, they sent a expedition to explore this area with a lot of mermaids and kind of learn about them, and everyone disappeared. And years later, her sister, the main character, her sister was on the original expedition. She is now going to explore and see what she can find and what happened to her sister. So I'm kind of intrigued. I know Katie is reading and read this one. Funnily enough, this book is actually could fit the prompt of read a book that is a horror book that is 5 years or older, which is why I bought Salem's Lot. But I didn't realize that Into the Drowning Deep came out in 2017. So it can fit a couple prompts. But I'm going to start with that one because it starts on a Friday. I'll be at work anyway, so I'll start the audiobook there. So probably the next time you see me will be after work tomorrow. But this weekend, probably starting Friday, the first physical book I'm reading is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I am so excited for this one. I know the reviews for this one recently have been kind of mixed. A lot of people have been like, it's not worth the hype. But I loved 5 Survive, so I'm thinking I'm gonna like this one too. So that is why this is my thriller pick. And who knows, if I like this, I will probably continue the trilogy, which will be a lot of fun. Anyway, that should be it for this intro, and I will see you guys with an update on Into the Drowning Deep. Bye. Hey guys, it is the end. Well, not quite the end for me, but this is my update for day 1 of Winterween, and it went okay. Like I said, today I'd be listening to an audiobook while I was at work, which I normally do anyway. I unfortunately only listened to 4 hours and 22 minutes of Into the Drowning Deep, so I'm exactly 25% of the way through. And I'm on chapter 8. So I'm not actually too far, which is not very impressive considering I work for 8 hours. But I think what happened is I kind of started listening to it and I went, I don't know how I feel about this. Because it's like, some of me is like, this is interesting, but there's another part of me that's like, do I actually like this? Then again, it's 25% of the way through. I'm not very far in at all. There's just something about the writing that irks me, and I can't put my finger on it. One thing that did bother me, and I did put this on my Instagram story, is the author for Into the Drowning Deep. What's her name? Sorry, Mira Grant. It shouldn't irk me, but it does. She uses the wrong plural for octopus, which is interesting because this book does this too. They both use octopi. Now, I know that was like a very common thing to do. Like, a lot of people still say octopi. That is not the correct plural for that word. It is octopuses. It is not octopi. If you read The Soul of an Octopus, it's literally right there on the first page. The author says that she didn't even know, but it is octopuses because octopus stems from a Greek word, and the I ending is a Latin thing. So you can't put a Latin ending on a Greek word. So the correct ending is octopuses. It's such a weird nitpick, but it honest to goodness bothers me. And I think it's because I'm a little bit of a grammar snout. I always have been. So it's like, grr. As for Into the Drowning Deep, nothing has really happened. Like, okay, they've left on the voyage. That's about all that's happened where I'm at. You've kind of been introduced to the characters. Well, for the most part, your main ones. And I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this book. I don't know how I feel about its execution. Then again, I'm still only 25% of the way through. So it may turn around for me. I don't know. I would hate to DNF a book this early on when nothing's really happened yet. One of the things I do know is bothering me about Into the Drowning Deep is it's very heavy-handed with its, like, conservation message. Don't get me wrong. Environmentalism is fine. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with taking care of this great planet of ours or taking care of the fish. But I do feel like its message with it is very heavy-handed. And I don't appreciate that in a book, like, personally. Again, full total nitpick. But it's also, I already know half of that. So it's like, I'm just hearing it from a fiction book, and I don't know why that bothers me. But Into the Drowning Deep's not going amazing right now. So I'm actually going to focus on my physical TBR for this week, starting tonight and tomorrow with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I'm going to start my thriller book. I kind of want to focus on the physical TBRs while, like, especially during the weekend as much as I can, because it snowed unexpectedly here in Minnesota yesterday, and then snowed some more today. So I don't think we're going anywhere tomorrow anyway, and I will gladly stay inside where it's warm. So I will probably spend a lot of that day reading. I think Zach and I do have like one thing we need to do, but most of it will be doing this. I am probably going to start A Good Girl's Guide to Murder tonight, take a break from the audiobook. The goal is to finish at least this weekend and start The House on the Lake, The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. That's like the main goal. This is actually not my read a book at night or in the dark, because when I do, it's already dark. Of course, it got dark by 5 o'clock. That is still the Five Nights at Freddy's comic, which I did not realize until I went looking for the book cover on Google that it's actually the comic version of the novel, The Silver Eyes. I didn't know that. I may read that one tonight as well, maybe tomorrow. If I really need a break and just need something easy, I will probably read that. But I'm going to start this tonight, and then I will read it tomorrow as well, probably for most of the day. Maybe I'll get it finished, I don't know, but I will probably spend most of the day at home because it's cold and it's very snowy. Okay, it's not very snowy, it's a light dusting, but it unexpectedly snowed. So there's my update on Into the Drowning Deep. Let's get started on some Holly Jackson, just to see if I have a better experience with this book than I'm currently having with my audiobook choice. So let's get started reading Holly Jackson. I am going to change to my pajamas though, because I don't want to be my blue jeans anymore. I will see you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, good afternoon. It's almost 3 o'clock, so I'm super behind on my reading today. But I slept late and my sinuses are giving me issues this morning. So it took me a minute to get into the groove. I am still reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I am on chapter 12, which is page 103. The fact that I read 103 pages in a matter of 2 hours, holy cow, that's not normally me, but I'll take it. So I'm on part 2, so things are starting to get a little bit more thriller-like instead of mystery, which I'm excited, because now someone's telling Pippa to stop digging. I do find it quite hilarious that the teacher literally, in the beginning of the book, the teacher says to cross no ethical lines and to make no contacts with the families involved. And the first person she asks for an interview is the brother. Is the brother of the boyfriend involved. First thing she does. So Pippa does not play by the rules. She's already done something I would not consider legal in this sense. And this is all under the guise of a school project. So it's getting interesting. It's really starting to feel more thriller. I'm kind of invested in like the mystery though, because it's like, well, what actually happened here? There was also one of the guys she interviewed who was clearly racist. Like, dude, rude. Ugh. It's a very interesting take on the mystery, which I do feel like can be, if you like consume a lot of true crime, I do feel like that can be an issue among like the media especially, so that should be. So I do think I'm enjoying this. I am only 100-something pages in. I will say I'm enjoying it more than I was Into the Drowning Deep yesterday, so that's good. I don't know how I feel about Into the Drowning Deep, honestly. But for this one, I'm just going to focus on this one for the rest of the day. I know it's like 3 o'clock. Zach is out. What is he doing? He's at the store because I still don't feel good. I've had like this guck for the week. Welcome to Minnesota. It got cold, the heat came on, and now there's absolutely no moisture in the air. So that explains that. So I'm gonna get back to reading. It is the perfect day to kind of sit and read because it is kind of snowy. It's not snowing, but there's like snow on the ground, and it's the perfect cozy winter day to let's just sit down and read. So I'm gonna get more into a good girl's. I'm gonna get more into this. I am thinking I'm gonna like this. I think I just like Holly Jackson as a writer because I know I liked Five Survive. So I'm like, ooh, why not try some of her other books? So it's actually really what kind of got me to go, okay, I probably need to read these. So here goes nothing. So here's to Winterween day 2, and I will see you guys with an update later. So I read 75 pages and then took a 2-hour nap on the couch. Still working on it. Welcome to my world. Okay, so it's the end of Winterween night 2 pretty much. It's currently 10:21. I'm still on A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I'm on page 229, which is chapter 25. The twists, turns in this book are interesting. I do feel like it's kind of bouncing a little bit as like more information comes out. It is getting interesting. I'm kind of invested a little bit, like, okay. I still personally have pretty much no indication of who's behind everything. I like the mystery, I like the thriller, like, I do enjoy this part. But if I read the rest of this trilogy, there better be more Robbie and Pip, because honestly, they're adorable. I didn't know this was a thing in this book, so it's kind of a surprise. But I kind of want more of them. Like, just more of their dynamic. I have heard that the third book goes completely off the rails, though. So, we'll see how that goes. But she's basically narrowed it down to somebody else. I don't want to... Trying to update on thrillers is so hard because I don't want to give it away for people who haven't read it. I'm clearly invested, but I do need to go to bed. So that is all for now, but that's my update. I'm on page 229. So I'm actually over halfway through this book, and I took a nap today and I'm still getting through this. This is a super quick read. Do you think that's kind of nice for a thriller because it keeps going and it keeps you invested? It's not nearly as slow as 5 Survive, although that slow storytelling of 5 Survive really did help with the storytelling because it gave it like suspense. This one, you've got a mystery and then you've got someone trying to get Pip to stop investigating. So there's like 2 mysteries going on. My camera's about to die. So it's definitely still good. It's still interesting. I need to hurry this up. But that is my update for tonight. I will see you guys in the morning. Bye. Hey guys, so I'm way behind in reading today. I got to part 3 last night, but I read a single chapter today. I know, it's supposed to be readathon, but I've had a very lazy-ish day. This is not good when I have like 5 days of this left. But I'm in the bed because yesterday after Zach got home, he was still in his steel toes, and I stubbed my toe really hard on his steel toe boots. So I have spent the morning resting because I've been sick all week, and then I had that, so trying to move has been not terribly difficult. I don't think anything's broken, but I also like had a conversation with my parents and we were like, is it a possibility I broke my toe? So we'll see. I'm going to see if the swelling goes down and then go, okay, if it still hurts, I'll go to the doctor. But yeah, I did get to part 3 of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I also closed the book with that bookmark. That was nice. I did get to part 3 of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I'm still almost done with the book, but it is 4 o'clock and I have gotten almost no reading done today. For 2 reasons, I'm not going to show my very bruised foot. 1, it's gross. 2, people are weird. No need. So that is pretty much my update for today, and it's the evening. So I've been so bad. So I'm gonna get back to reading this. I may read the comic book tonight, the Silver Eyes tonight, or at least a little bit of it, depending how long it is, and do it in the dark and make it as dark in here as possible without making it like pitch black, because that freaks me out as it is. And then you're gonna put, you know, a Five Nights at Freddy's comic in the middle of that. So I'm going to probably do that tonight, just to get a break from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, even though if I keep this up, I'll probably finish it tonight. Hopefully I can finish this tonight and get started on Riley Sager, and then read some more of Into the Drowning Deep tomorrow. We'll listen to Into the Drowning Deep tomorrow at work. I don't know how it's going to go, because I know I'm not like totally invested. So we'll see how that one goes. But as for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I am actually pretty much enjoying this. I don't know if it's a 5-star or not, but I am most definitely invested. And I did have a thought of, what if it's this person? So that would be quite the twist. So anyway, I'm gonna get back to that. Sorry I've been so bad about this today. I've been so bad about this like this week, because like I feel like Summerween, I was like all over it, and now I'm like not. But this weekend has been weird. So I will update you guys hopefully when I'm finished with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder or The Silver Eyes tonight. Okay? See ya. Okay, so I just got to chapter 36, page 298. When the animals get involved, I get a little pissed off. Why? Why do you do this? No. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. Okay, so I'm on page 328, so I'm about 70 pages from the end. Pip and Robbie have a lead, and I think it's the right one, because I'm actually screaming something else at this book to Pip to figure out, and because I can't discuss this book with anyone, my husband has no idea what's going on, I can't tell anybody that I think they're right. I think Pip is right, not just because it's this close to the end of the book, but because 1, it would be a crazy twist, and 2, there's something she hasn't thought of, and I'm like, Pip, figure it out. Put it together. That's how I get when I read thrillers. I'm so sorry. Y'all. I have probably 70 pages left of this book. I have to work tomorrow. Should I finish this tonight? I think I should finish this tonight. I have like 2.5 hours before I go to bed. Right? I can do it. Can I do it? Is this a bad idea? Whatever, I'm going for it. Oh, it seems like the mystery has been wrapped up. But I still have 30 pages. Holly Jackson's always got to leave that last twist in there, doesn't she? It goes nothing. I finished this. I finished A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I need to marinate on this for a minute because I was definitely invested, and I will 1000% read the rest of the books just for more Pip and Ravi. Their chemistry is, it's cute. They're adorable. Actually make really good team in this as well. Something I like about Holly Jackson is a lot of her books have a lot of like twists, and well, the two I've read have lots of twists and turns. And I knew when everything wrapped up with 30 pages to go, there was something else coming. Because I've read 5 Survives. But I called the last twist probably 2/3 into the book. I don't know if that brings it down a star for me or not that I guessed it. But the last twist, I got it. I was like, maybe this person did. Oh, yeah, there it is. So right now, it's in between a 4 and a 5 for me. I don't really do half stars. So it's in between a 4 and a 5 for me. I was definitely invested. I know some people don't like this book and they're like, this is overhyped. I don't actually think it is. I actually kind of like Holly Jackson. But again, I'm super new to thrillers. So I don't know how other people would feel about how I feel about them. Sorry about the messy bed, by the way. I've pretty much been in it all day, and now my very bruised toe feels like it's been bit by 10 tiny fire ants. In retrospect, this should not have taken me all weekend to finish. I wasn't getting to reading until later in the afternoons. Like, it's 9:30 now, and I have to go to work tomorrow. So that means I can't start another book tonight. Well, I'll probably end up doing maybe tomorrow. I know Zach and I have something tomorrow night. When it gets like later, I'll read the Five Nights at Freddy's manga just because I need a break from this. But then again, when I get to work tomorrow, I'll also be probably listening to some more of Into the Drowning Deep. That's the one I'm looking for. Although I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about that one. I do find it a little embarrassing that this is, I've started 4 books now. One of them's audio, 2 physicals, 3 physicals. This is my first finish of 2025. And we're 2 weeks into January. We're like halfway through January, and this is my first finish of the new year. I don't know if I should be embarrassed or not. Because I did start Shadow Song, which I'm on page like 91. And I'm still reading Voices into the Ocean. Voices in the Ocean. But it's just going to take me a while to finish because I'm marking that book up. So I guess Winterween will be the first few books I actually finish in 2025, which is in... And I think what happened is I knew this was coming. So I was a little kind of preparing myself for a lot of reading. So I was preparing myself for a lot of reading coming, and then I just didn't read the books I was already on. Not great, I know. But I have finished 1 book for Winterween, and I'm still not sure if it's a 4 or a 5. So I will have to get back to you on that. For now, I'm going to go put this in my reading journal, and then I think my husband and I are doing laundry, and then I'm probably going to go to bed. And I will update you guys tomorrow for Winterween. Is it really day 4 already tomorrow? And I've only finished 1 book. I've really only finished 1 book in 4 days. I have 3 days ago. I just realized how screwed I am. I may have to leave one out. I don't know yet. Anyway, I'll update you guys tomorrow. No, it's day 3. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tomorrow's day 4. I have 4 days left. I'm still screwed. I'll update you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hello. Day 4 of Winterween. And not only have I finished my first book of 2025, I have DNF'd my first book of 2025. I tried, guys. I tried to read Into the Drowning Deep, and I don't care. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. I'm bored. which is bad because it's supposed to be a horror novel, right? I don't know what it is. I don't like some of the writing. I do think it's a little bit on the nose with some of the environmental concerns, which I understand environmentalism, I get that, but you gotta be on the nose. I am incredibly bored with the story. Like, I don't care. And I'm like, okay, so one of the mermaids actually come in here. To be fair, I only got about 29% of the way through the book. But that's enough for me to go, I don't like these characters, I don't like the writing, and I honest to goodness do not care about this book at all. So, yikes. In other words, reading a book that's over 5 years old will have to go to Stephen King, because I am not going to try and finish Into the Drowning Deep. But that also makes my job slightly harder, because the 2 books are physical that I want to read in over 400 pages. To which my husband is like, oh, 200 pages a day. Thanks, babe. Thanks. But Into the Drowning Deep is a no-go. I'll listen to my other audiobook tomorrow. So the plan tonight, because that was all I did for reading today, is to start my first Riley Sager book, which is The House Across the Lake. And after my husband gets home and after dinner and after some stuff we've got to do, I will finally get out The Silver Eyes. I think that's the name of it. I think it's also like volume 1 or something. I don't even think it's the whole story. But I will grab that and I will start reading that in the dark. I'm going to read some Riley Sager. I know this one's got a few mixed reviews, but it fits the prompt of there's house in the title, and it's also on the cover. Here's the day 4. I feel like Winterween as opposed to Summerween is a little bit more of a fail. But Summerween was mostly audiobooks and Goosebumps, which one of those Goosebumps books was 2 hours. So I have upped the ante quite a bit for this one. Anyway, Riley Sager. See you guys with an update in a bit. Do all Riley Sager books start with a Taylor Swift quote, or is this a one-off? Just curious. Hello, Winterween day 5, I want to say. And I actually finished another book. I finished You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron, and if I could describe this book in one word, it would be disappointing. Here's why. The beginning starts out so strong. Like, that intro is done very well. And it feels like it's about to be the rest of the story is going to be like a Friday the 13th type of deal. It seemed fun at first. The first half is actually pretty good. There's a very good sense of foreboding. The writing's actually pretty strong. The problem happens around the halfway point, where this book takes the weirdest turn, and it's like, that's not where I thought this was going. Like, I appreciate it, but it's also like, what did I just read? Yeah, it's a 3-star for me. Like, because it started so strong, it is a 3-star. But that ending, what was that ending at the epilogue? Like, I appreciate you trying to do something different, but if you're like a fan of like crappy, well, not crappy, but like corny slasher movies, this may not be the book for you, because it's not the fun time you think it's gonna be. I can't give it a 2. Like, I physically cannot give it a 2 because that beginning was so strong. But that turn, then the twists, and it lost me. I actually did get bored at one point. I was like, why is this here? And then it came together later. It's like, by the time it came back together, I was like, I don't care. What? So I think for the rest of day 5, first off, I'm going to take a break because I have been reading this all day. Well, you're listening to that all day. And I need a comfort show break. And then I think I'm going to try to read the book I've been trying to read at night, which is The Silver Eyes, which is the FNAF comic book. So I'm going to watch some Scrubs for now, just to kind of chill, because I'm exhausted anyway, just from everything. And then I'll turn off the lights and read a little bit of the comic book. I'm very behind on my TBR, I know. And you know, that's just sometimes how it happens. If I hadn't taken so long to read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I probably would have been a lot farther in Riley Sager. Not just past page 20. Oh well. Anyway, I'm going to take a break and watch some Scrubs, and then I'm going to pick up the ebook. And I'll see you guys when I can update you later. Bye. Hello everyone, we have come to the end of this vlog, and it has taken me far too long to film the outro for this vlog. It has been almost a week since the beginning of Summerween, so it's been about 4 days since the actual end of Summerween, so it's been about almost a week since I stopped reading for Summerween. Sorry, last week was incredibly crazy at work, and I've just been mentally exhausted, so it's been great. I just didn't feel like filming. I just really wanted to kind of just read the books that I wasn't reading during the readathon and just enjoy them. So I might make some changes and kind of to balance out a little bit, because I like to read, not just to film it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I like vlogging, but I don't know what happened. I was just exhausted last week. I also didn't finish my TBR at all. And I probably should have grabbed my phone. It was on the charger the whole time, and it was under a book, so I misplaced it. So anyway, I did not finish my TBR, but I have pictures of the books that I checked out from the library because I've already returned them. So for the first book I started reading, to kind of review, for the first book I started reading for this, it was Into the Drowning Deep. I DNF'd this book. I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood or what, but I was bored. I was honestly bored. I'm 25% of the way through this book. There's no suspense. There's nothing. I'm just, what's happening? I think there was already an introduction of maybe too many characters, and there was a lot to keep up with, and I'm like, I don't want to read this right now. So I DNF'd. I don't think I'm going to try this one again, though. I was not in the mood, I guess, and it wasn't scary. There wasn't anything suspenseful or anything. And I didn't like the writing either. Also, they do the same sin that Susan Casey does in Voices in the Ocean multiple times, and uses octopi as a plural for octopus, which is not correct. I think I did mention that earlier in this vlog, but that is not correct. It is octopuses is the plural. It took me until I was 28 to know that, but it's octopuses. I didn't know that until a year ago, but it is octopuses. But other than that, I didn't like the writing. I didn't really care about the characters. And I was 25% of the way through, and I don't care. I'm bored and I don't care. So that's why I DNF'd Into the Drowning Deep. But I started A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is the only physical book I actually finished in this vlog. I loved this book. I think I gave it a 4-star. Because I know Holly Jackson's kind of formula by now, it's not as surprising because it's like, okay, it wrapped up and there's like 30 pages left. There's another, what's the word I'm looking for? There's another shock coming. There's another twist coming. And it's just how she writes. It's her formula. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but because I was expecting like that twist, and also I kind of guessed it about 3/4 through. I was like, what if it's this person? And then it's like, yeah, that's who did it. Told you. But I still enjoyed the story. I want to read the other 2 of these only for more Ravi and Pip. They have this very sweet dynamic. There is a little bit of an age gap. She's like 17, he's 20. It's not a bad age gap though. Honestly, their banter is cute. They're friendly. They start out friendly with each other. And it just develops into what I think is actually like kind of a connection. And I just think it's sweet. So I do want to see more of that. This ending does like have serious consequences for like her friends though. It is, I think it's actually really well done. I have heard that the other 2 kind of get a little bit crazy. Like the 3rd one is just back crap. It's just like back crap crazy. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, and I don't know if I'm looking forward to that or not. But I did enjoy this one specifically. While everything else took me forever to read, this took me 3 days because I just wanted more of it. The next book I finished was I think the next one I finished was You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. I gave this 3 stars, and I'm gonna tell you why. This book started out so strong. That beginning is quite the hook, and it made me want to continue listening because it was on audio. I'm like, this is actually so interesting. The only thing about it is I kind of understand why the author did this, but I also don't like it. It took the weirdest cult paranormal turn, and I was left more confused by the end than really satisfied. I was not satisfied by the end of this book. I do feel like the last couple of like lines before the epilogue are literally there nothing but shock. And then, yeah. I do also have like a small issue. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but one of the friends' page is supposedly this absolute expert on horror movies and the rules of a horror movie. And yet the first thing they do is split up. Why do they always split up? As an expert in horror movies and slasher films, you think that the first thing not to do is to split up. So I did have issues with that. Like there was absolutely nothing in there that referenced that either. It's just like, we're gonna go this way, you guys can stay here. Are you crazy? So yeah, it was weird. I thought it was heading in a different direction, and I liked the direction it was heading in. I thought it would be like really a cool idea, and then it takes this jarring turn and it just knocked it down for me. I'm like, this is weird. I don't like how this was done. I will say the main character is a lesbian, which I wasn't expecting, but I like that she's written as a normal human being who just happens to be gay. You don't see that a lot in modern literature, so that was actually nice. But they did have another gay character who did the whole stereotypical gay thing, and I was like, that I'm not a fan of. Like, it's kind of obnoxious to the point where it's distracting for a second. Thankfully, they only do it a couple times. I think they only do it like once, to be honest. But it is distracting when they do that. It is distracting when an author does that, like in general. Like, but the main character is not very distracting, which is nice. But I just don't like the way the story went. It just took this really weird turn, and it kind of goes. It feels like it kind of has like this paranormal element to it, but doesn't fully commit. And I
I wasn't satisfied by the end of it. I was like, this went in a weird direction and I like none of it. So that is my take. So, not my thing. Definitely a 3-star because, and the reason it's 3, I can't give it a 2 or a 1. The reason it's 3 is because that beginning was so strong. It's just when it makes that turn, it's like, what did I just read? And so, but the beginning was such a strong intro. It's not fair to give it anything less. But it's definitely not a 4 or 5. So it's not something I will read again, simply because I just don't like the direction it took. So there's kind of my opinion on that one. The next one I finished was another library book that got me to check out 2 more of these. And it's Five Nights at Freddy's The Silver Eyes. It's the graphic novel. I did not realize this was a graphic novel based on the actual book called The Silver Eyes. I did not make that connection until I went to find this cover, and then the novel cover showed up. I went, oh, it's a graphic novel of this book. I didn't mind. It was an easy, spooky read, so I wasn't really concerned. But I did check out the other 2 from the library to read on my Kindle just out of curiosity, which is weird because I'm not in the biggest horror mood. I'm very much in the fantasy mood, and if I'm not in the fantasy mood, I'm in my nonfiction mood. So this January has been interesting. I like the art style of the comic. I do. Something about the art style was like a little off. Like, it was still nicely done. The illustrator did a nice job, but there was some of it that was kind of, I can't explain it. Like, almost unfinished, I guess. I mean, it may just be that illustrator's style. It may just not be my thing. But the story was interesting enough that I want to read the rest of the 2 more of the graphic novels that my library happens to have. So it's not a deterrent at all. Basically, the main character returns to her hometown and they visit an abandoned Five Nights at Freddy's and shenanigans and they're adults. After, it was like 10 years after there was a child went missing at the Freddy Fazbear's, and they go in and they figure that mystery out. And yes, the animatronics do come to life in this one again, because that's kind of the point of Five Nights at Freddy's. And some of the imagery is actually quite creepy, and I can't pull it up because I've already turned it back in. But there's the part where Bonnie, the bunny, kind of puts his head like under a bathroom stall, and I was like, okay, yeah, if I saw this in like a Chuck E. Cheese bathroom, I'd probably pee my pants. Because like I've said, Five Nights at Freddy's is like my nightmare come to life because I hated Chuck E. Cheese when I was a kid. But the thing is, I don't know if I was terrified of the animatronics or the guy in the costume. I did not like Chuck E. Cheese's though. If the guy if the mascot came out, nope. My butt went and hid in the play place and did not come out. I did it twice, and the second time they had to send an employee in after me to come get me because I was still hiding in there. It was so bad. So when it comes to anything Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm already uncomfortable. So they do kind of freak me out, even though the stories are more for young adults and children, because that's kind of their audience. But because this is kind of a concept that already freaks me out, it kind of adds to the fear factor for me. And having like an animatronic bunny poke his head out from beneath the stall, even in pictures, I'm like, no. I like the story, okay. I did like the story, okay. It does kind of get a little bit into the lore, which I have actually looked in the Five Nights at Freddy's lore because my brother and I got into a conversation and he's like, dude, the lore goes so deep now. And I was like, okay. So I went to like a random hour-long YouTube video that explains the entire lore of Five Nights at Freddy's. So I know more about that video game than I should, considering I've never played it. Like, I was introduced to it through Markiplier's videos, like. So I know more about it than I should as someone who's never played the game. But I liked the story of the Silver Eyes. It was very creepy, and it kind of goes into like the Five Nights at the FNAF Five Nights at Freddy lore very well. So I'm interested in reading the other 2 comics. I do not know the names of them at this moment, and they're due in like a week, so I might want to get to reading those. But anyway, I think I always also gave that one 4 stars because I did enjoy it. Like, I did enjoy reading it. And it was Five Nights at Freddy's, and it was the one I actually read in the dark. Like, I turned the lights off and then read it on my iPad, because on my iPad there's color. So yeah, that's Five Nights at Freddy's: The Silver Eyes. And those are the only 3 books I finished in Winterween. I got maybe a couple chapters into The House Across the Lake, and I didn't even start Stephen King. And I think what really happened was after that last night, after the Wednesday night, I was done. But I think it was actually after the Tuesday night. I didn't want to read any more horror books. I'm just like, I've had enough. I'm done. So I'm gonna be honest. I probably won't be doing Winterween next year. I am such a mood reader, and I was simply not in the mood for more thriller and horror books. I also didn't want to try and cram 2 400-page books in a span of 2 days, because I was already exhausted from work and from reading all day or listening to audiobooks and trying to finish them really, really fast. I was already exhausted. So I kind of skipped the last 2 days. This is also why I'm just now getting to this outro. And I'm just in the mood for something else. And I'm very much a mood reader. And I had 2 books that I had started before I even touched my Winter Readathon TBR. And I just probably won't do this next year. Summerween, I think, works better for me because I'm starting to get like ready for fall. I'm starting to kind of crave that fall weather. It's like late summer. You're ready for the boots. You're ready for oh, my battery's dying. You're ready for everything, and you're ready for autumn and winter. I'm just not ready for Halloween. And my battery's dying, so that is the end of the vlog. And I hope you guys enjoyed. What was your Winterween TBR like? And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.